Dedication. To the best of the people, who sincerely believe in the rights, justice, equality, and freedom mentioned in the proclamation of the Messenger of Mercy. Shares. Translator's foreword. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Praise be to Allah, the Mighty and Sublime, and we invoke salawat on the Messenger of Allah and his all al-Bayt household members, who were specially chosen to assist Allah's Messenger in propagating his message, and after him bear the responsibility of guarding the message and the laws brought by the last prophet of God. In 1962, Allama Sheikh Muhammad Jawad Mufnaya of Lebanon had written a very important book, As Shia wa al-Hakimun, in Arabic, which highlighted the plight suffered by Shias at the hands of the tyrannical rulers, whom some ignorant persons think to be the shadow of God on the earth. This book was subsequently translated into many languages. The present English translation is prepared from the Urdu version, entitled Shia Aur Habir Hukumran, translated by Rida Hussein Rizwani, who has also added scholarly footnotes to enhance its relevance in this present age. It has been nearly 45 years since the book was first published. Alhamdulillah, the English translation was completed on the 13th Rajab al-Maraj Jab, the day celebrated by Shias as the birthday of their first Imam, Ali ibn Abi Talib, through whom began the chain of infallible leaders that would continue till the end of the world. Wassalam. Syed Athar Hussein S.H. Rizvi. Al-Qalam Translators and Writers Bureau. Email. syedathat@hotmail.com. Dated 13 Rajab al-Marajab 1429 AH 17 July 2008. Shares. Forward. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. For a ruler, no matter how qualified and experienced he may be, it is impossible to rule with justice and equity, except that 1. He takes counsel from people, takes them into confidence, respects their aspirations and keeps them with him in matters of national interests. Or 2. He is aware of the fine points of the Sharia and is cognizant of the intricacies of worldly matters. He fully understands national exigencies and acts according to them. Also, he should have dedicated himself to the path of God, and service to the community. He should take all the qualities to the level of perfection that the Shia school of thought considers necessary for a religious and a worldly leader. He should be the best among the people and must possess divine attributes, so that he can fulfill the duties of a divine representative on the earth. To say that disobedience of a ruler tantamount to disobedience of God is applicable to only this type of ruler. That if a ruler is bereft of these two conditions, he would naturally try to rule the society through force and compulsion, which would inevitably create oppression, extremism, constraints and injustice in the kingdom. Indeed, the Shia point of view regarding the ruler is absolutely correct from the academic aspect. However, even if you search the whole world, you will not be able to find such a ruler today. Therefore, it is necessary that the ruler of today should fulfill the functions of government without hurting national sentiments and without compromising national interests. Tussles between rulers and people are basically due to the conglomeration of all powers in a single despotic and tyrant ruler. Because of this, there is an increase in oppression, aggression, and corruption. Although under an authoritarian rule, aggression and oppression are heaped on people indiscriminately. Regardless of religion and faith, this book is only concerned with the oppression of the Shias throughout the ages. The reason for this is that from the point of view of Shia belief, one can become eligible for religious and political leadership only if he is immune from mistakes or is a person who fulfills the criteria of an infallible, based on his eligibility and personal merits. If he is not such, he has no right to rule in the name of religion. Yes, if the people trust that leader, and he fulfills the expectations of the community, he is eligible to rule in the name of the society and serve the community. 1. On the contrary, other schools of thoughts do not lay such conditions for a ruler. According to them, it is unlawful to revolt or rise against the ruler who rules in the name of religion, even though he may be a tyrant and a sinner. We have fully explained this subject in this book. Since the beginning of Muslim history, the rulers ruled in the name of Islam. According to the Shia faith, these rulers did not fulfill the criteria of rulership. This the Shias considered them usurpers and used to oppose them. As Shi'ism spread and gained wide acceptance among the people, the tyrant rulers began to have sleepless nights. Hence the Shias had to bear different types of persecutions at their hands. Obviously, no ruler, especially an autocratic one, can ever tolerate opposition from any section of the society. That is why, historically, Shias became targets of cruelties of the tyrant rulers, and those rulers pushed them to the wall. They tried to crush the Shias completely so that none remains to voice opposition against their rule. The book in your hand exposes the severe and ghastly behavior that the tyrannical regimes employed with the Shias. This book discusses this shameful conduct of these people that resulted in the weakening of Islam and the Islamic unity, and which created, among the Muslims masses, hatred and animosity against Shia Muslims. And this continued to exist for many centuries. Also, in this book, we have described the tyrannies of those rulers who killed national aspirations and violated the rights of the real legitimate rulers, illegally occupying the seats of power. This work is also concerned with the sacrifices of those who dared to oppose the tyrants and who laid down their lives and sacrificed their close and dear ones on the altar of justice. At last, their sacrifices bore fruits, resulting in regimes being overthrown, rulership and autocracies declining, and tyrant rulers getting eliminated one after another and their power vanishing. The Shias accord great importance to the qualities necessary for a religious ruler. They have recorded these points in their books of jurisprudence and faith. Shia scholars impart the same teachings to their students in the religious seminaries. They disseminate the same concepts to people at religious gatherings and during sermons. Shia sources say that a ruler who rules in the name of religion, but fails to fulfill one of the above conditions, is an enemy of God, His angels, and His prophets. In this matter the Shias do not differentiate between Shia and Sunni rulers. Rather, in their view, the crime of a Shia ruler who does not rule properly is more serious because he is acting against the principles of his faith. In this matter, Shi'ism does not consider that mere knowledge and justice of the ruler is sufficient, and according to Shia faith, it is even unlawful to give precedence to an inferior person in presence of a superior one. 2. Thus, if inferior persons occupy the seats of power, despite there being eligible persons superior to them, they shall be deemed usurpers. So, we can say with certainty that according to the Shia beliefs, the Buwayhid, Fatimid, Hamadanid and Safavid governments three were not Islamic rulership. The merely political rulership. The Umayyad and Abbasid caliphs were also political, and not religious, rulers. It will not be out of place to mention here that from the religious point of view, the Shias are not opposed to a government established through consensus, which protects human rights, defends the national boundaries, and administers the country in a competent manner. However, such governments have no right to interfere in religious matters. Therefore, the use of word rulers in the title of this book, Shias and the despotic rulers, does not imply only Sunni rulers. It includes all oppressive and tyrant rulers. It must also be mentioned that the hardships to which the Sunni rulers subjected the Shias were due to political reasons and it had no connection with religious matters. In short, the aim of writing this book is so that the reader should have freedom in his beliefs, expression of opinion and action, and he may thus act according to his conscience. For him achieve this aim, if the need arises, he must be prepared to lay down his life and sacrifice even something more than that. If this book achieves the goal that I aspire, I will know that my labors are not wasted. If it does not, I would consider that it is due to my shortcomings. A deep research of history has led me to conclude that if the rulers had not been authoritarian and oppressive, Islam would have spread in such a manner that today you will not find a single non-Muslim in the whole world. The final point is that when people reach the corridors of power, they undergo such a transformation that they lose all the good qualities. Look at those politicians, who before coming to power, were considered reliable by the people and who were looked upon to be such that they would not break the high moral principles. Once they attain power they start talking about diplomacy and exigency. The only exceptions to this rule are those whom Allah protects against deviation. But such personages are only a handful. I pray to the Almighty Allah that for the sake of Muhammad and Al Muhammad, He bestows upon us the good sense to acquire fine qualities and moral virtues. Muhammad Jawad Mufniya. Beirut, 1962. 1. This highlights the difference between People's Republic and Islamic Republic. 2. In the view of Shias, an inferior person can never have precedence over a superior one. They base their contention on the Quranic verse. Is he then who guides to the truth more worthy to be followed, or he who himself does not go aright unless he is guided? What then is the matter with you? How do you judge? 10:35. The follower of Zayd, the martyr, used to consider Ali to be superior. But, in their opinion, it was allowed to give precedence to the inferior. According to the belief of Zaydiyya, anyone from the progeny of Fatima, who stages an uprising for the sake of truth can become an imam, provided he is learned, pious, brave, and generous. 3. Despite there being Shias, note of al-islam.org. Shares. Differences among Muslims. His Eminence, the Messenger of Allah, was the founder of Islam. During his lifetime, all the Muslims were united and there were no sects. It was such because the Prophet was the sole point of reference, who was consulted with regarding the Holy Quran and religious matters. If any difference arose among the Muslims regarding some matter, the Prophet was present there in person to remove it. No one had the right to object to any decision of the Prophet, or express his own opinion because the Almighty Allah had declared, "Then if you quarrel about anything, refer it to Allah and the Apostle." 4:59. Hence, during the tenure of the Prophet, all Muslims used to present to him their problems and the issue of differing opinions never arose. After the passing away of the Holy Prophet, all Muslims were unanimous on 6 points of religious belief. God is one. 2. His Eminence, Muhammad is the Messenger of God. 3. The Holy Quran is revealed by God. 4. On the Judgment Day all those who are dead would be raised to life again. 5. Accounting of deeds will take place on Judgment Day. 6. Paradise and hell are real. These 6 points are related to fundamentals of the Islamic faith. As far as religious rituals are concerned, like prayers, fasting, the Hajj pilgrimage and the Zakat tax, the Messenger of Allah himself demonstrated their methods. Nevertheless, there arose differences among the Muslims on issues, in which ijtihad one can be practiced. These issues were related to the details of beliefs and matters of Islamic jurisprudence. However, such differences did not change the basis of one's being a Muslim, and did not remove one from the pale of Islam because 1. The difference pertained not to the oneness of being but to the oneness of qualities. That is, whether the qualities of Allah are inherent in his own being or in addition to his being. 2. The difference is not about the messengership of His Eminence, the Holy Prophet but about his infallibility, that is whether he was infallible before his appointment as prophet, or his infallibility began only when he was appointed as a divine messenger. 3. Difference didn't arise regarding the authenticity of the Holy Quran, but about its being created or eternal. 4. Differences didn't crop up about the occurrence of resurrection. It is about whether human beings will be resurrected with their original bodies, or only their souls shall be made to account for their deeds. Also, there was no difference about the prayers being obligatory. The difference arose over whether the chapter of Quran Surah is a part of the prayers, or otherwise. So, difference over such matters do not become the cause of one being expelled from Islam. Neither can it be said that he is not a follower of the Holy Prophet. Major Muslim sects. After the departure of the Holy Prophet, differences developed among the Muslims over some principles of Islam that refer to faith and spiritual matters. Differences also developed over secondary matters that refer to articles of acts being obligatory, unlawful, or permissible. The Mu'tazila and Ash'ira sects came into existence due to differences over the fundamentals of faith. But these differences were not about jurisprudence that are related to deeds. Meanwhile, the Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i and Hanbali schools came about because of differences over matters related to jurisprudence. 2. In the matter of principles of faith, all these sects follow the Ash'ira school, referring to Abu al-Hasan Ash'ari Baghdadi. 3. Shia scholars agree with other Muslims on the principles of faith but differ with them about many problems of jurisprudence. In this way, the difference in principles of faith is not the cause of agreement. In secondary matters of religion, indifference in secondary matters of religion is not the cause of agreement in principles of faith. Some scholars have carried the number of Islamic sects to 73 to make it in conformity with a tradition quoted from the Holy Prophet in which he is reported to have said, "The Jews were divided into 71 sects after Musa and Christians got divided into 72 sects after Isa. After me my followers will be divided into 73 sects." We present below a brief account of the Islamic sects. The following are four major groups, viz. 1. Shia. 2. Khawarij. 3. Mu'tazila. 4. Ash'ira. Shia. According to the Shia belief, the appointment of an imam leader is the duty of the Holy Prophet of Islam. This matter was not delegated to the Ummah. The Shias believe that the Holy Prophet has clearly specified Ali ibn Abi Talib as his successor and imam of the Ummah, and that it is necessary for the imam to be superior to the companions of the Prophet. The Shias also believe that it is necessary for the imam to be immune from committing mistakes. Khawarij. Khawarij is distinct from other Islamic sects. They believe that it is not necessary for the caliph to be from the Quraysh or Arabs. Arabs and non-Arabs are equal in the matter of Islamic rulership. The Khawarij believe that one who commits a major sin becomes an infidel. They also believe that it is sinful to have an opinion against the opinion of Khawarij sect, and to perform ijtihad. Although the Khawarij knew that Imam Ali didn't take any steps in connection with the arbitration in the Battle of Siffin, they considered him infidel because he had agreed to it. A group of Khawarij, called Azarika, believes that whoever opposes the Khawarij is a polytheist and that it is necessary to fight and eliminate him. Mu'tazila. There are 5 principles that distinguish Mu'tazila from other sects. 1. Unity in the sense that Allah is one and that His attributes are inherent in Him. 2. Justice in the sense that the affairs of a man's life is determined by himself. 3. Belief in a stage between two stages, which means that a person who commits a major sin neither remains a believer, nor does he become a disbeliever. He is, however, a transgressor. He does not remain a believer because he has not perfected his good qualities, and he is not a disbeliever because he testifies to the oneness of God and prophethood of Muhammad. After death, he shall remain in hell forever, because in the hereafter there is either paradise or hell. Nevertheless, in hell his punishment will not be severe, and he can be called a Muslim. 4. Belief in promise and threat. It means that when Allah promises spiritual reward or threatens punishment, his promise or threat cannot change, and a person whom he has promised punishment will not be forgiven. 5. Enjoining others to do good and restraining them from evil are obligatory from the standpoint of reason and not from that of Sharia. Ash'ira. Ash'ira and Mu'tazila agree on 2 points, but Ash'ira differs from Mu'tazila in following 5 points. The Ash'ira say: 1. Allah's attributes are not inherent in His being, they are in addition to it. 2. Man does not have a free will. He is helpless against destiny. 3. It is not obligatory on Allah to fulfill promises of reward and punishment. Nothing is incumbent on Allah. He can punish doers of good deeds and reward the sinners. Because Allah's deeds are not obligations that must be fulfilled by Him, and Allah does not perform any indecent act. 4. One who commits a major sin is not at a stage between faith and disbelief, and he will not remain in hell forever. 5. Enjoining good and forbidding evil is obligatory from the religious point of view and not from the viewpoint of reason. Shias agree with Mu'tazila regarding the unity of Godhead and divine justice. 6. But the Shias do not agree with them on the remaining 3 points. Regarding major sins and enjoining good and forbidding evil, they agree with Ash'ira. On the question of promises and threats, Shias do not agree with either Ash'ira or Mu'tazila. They maintain that Allah honors the promises He has made regarding rewards, but it is not necessary that He carries out the threats He has given regarding punishment. The mercy of Allah is vast. Hence, He can forgive the sinners. It is not appropriate from the viewpoint of reason that He should not reward those who do good deeds. The Shia faith Shia literally means a follower and a supporter. But, in general parlance, Shia is one who follows the 12 Imams of the family of the Prophet. The first of among them is Ali, and the last being the promised Mahdi. The Quran says, "And most surely Ibrahim was his Nas." Shia 37:83. According to historians and theologians, Shia is the sect that has love and devotion for Imam Ali and his descendants, and we mentioned earlier that Shias believe that it is obligatory to specify the Imam and that the Prophet specifically stated that Ali would be his successor. Beginning of Shi'ism. Some people say that Shi'ism began as a consequence of a political issue that has no relation with Islam. This is completely wrong. The origin of Shia faith was due to a religious matter that had not the least connection with politics. The sources of Shia faith are sayings and practice of the Prophet. The Holy Prophet chose Imam Ali for cooperation and brotherhood. He had taken care and nurtured him since childhood, trained and educated him. All his life he had never criticized Imam Ali, nor did he ever call him to account on anything. Imam Ali represented the Prophet at some important occasions. And in difficult situations, it was only Imam Ali who communicated the beginning verses of Surah Bara'at to the polytheists on the occasion of Hajj. The Holy Prophet chose Imam Ali to kill Amr ibn Abd Wad in the Battle of the Ditch and to kill Marhab during the Battle of Khaybar. He took with himself Ali, Fatima, Hassan and Hussein at the event of imprecation Mubahila against the Christians of Najran, Yemen. It was Imam Ali who mounted the shoulders of the Holy Prophet and destroyed the idols in the Holy Kaaba on the day of the conquest of Mecca. It was Imam Ali who was along with the Holy Prophet under his cloak. Indeed, innumerable excellences of this kind are peculiar to Imam Ali, and if any other companion of the Holy Prophet had possessed even one of them, he would have considered it to be a unique honor. As regard the remarks of the Holy Prophet about Imam Ali, it must be remembered that on many occasions he specifically mentioned the virtues of Imam Ali and announced him to be his caliph after him. The first declaration by the Holy Prophet about caliphate was made at the time of the revelation of the verse of warning, and he had invited 30 men of his clan to dinner. After the dinner, the Prophet placed his hand on the shoulders of Ali and said, "This is my brother, executor of my will and my assistant. After me he will be my caliph. So, you must listen to him and obey him." 7. The last declaration made by the Prophet about the caliphate of Imam Ali was at the time of returning from the farewell Hajj at Ghadir Qum. During his sermon he raised the hand of Imam Ali and said, "Of whomsoever I am the master, Ali, too, is his master." In between his first and last declarations the Prophet had spoken about the successorship of Ali a number of times. The Holy Prophet said to Imam Ali, "O Ali, are you not pleased that you are to me as Harun was to Musa, except that there is no prophet after me?" 8. He also said, "Ali is with truth and truth is with Ali." There is also the tradition of Thaqalain, two important things, and many other traditions quoted by Sunni scholars. Their traditions have been collected by Shia scholars in books like Naqs ash-Shia, Ayan ash-Shia, Al-Murajat and Dalil as-Sid Q etc. I have not seen any Sunni scholar who has not quoted traditions about the wilayat mastership and successorship of Imam Ali. But they have taken pains to prove that wilayat, which actually and literally denotes rulership and sovereignty, is to be understood as friendship and sincerity. They have written that the job of the successor is limited to shrouding and burial of the Prophet. Sunni scholars have inconclusively tried to interpret these narrations in their own way and undertook great pains to derive such far-fetched meanings that in no way conform to the text of the traditions. There is no doubt that if such a tradition had existed about any other companion, it would have been written in golden letters. If the Shias consider love for Imam Ali to be the treasure of faith and consider him infallible, it is all in obedience to the Prophet of Allah. In the presence of such traditions, based on which the Shias express love for Imam Ali, no scope remains to doubt the guardianship of Ali, and it could not be called emotions, bigotry, and blind following of the forefathers. Based on this argument, the source of the Shia faith is purely religious, and it is based on the obedience to the sayings of the Holy Prophet. It has no relation to politics or political exigencies. 9. Origin of the Shia faith. Egyptian writer, Sheikh Abu Zahra writes in Al-Mazahib ul-Islamiyya that Shi'ism is the oldest political school of Islam. This political school came into existence during the period of Uthman and was completed during the Caliphate of Ali. As much he became familiar with the people, the more he acquainted them with the greatness of Shi'ism, the firmness of religion, and his own knowledge. Some people say that Shi'ism came into existence in the Battle of the Camel, and others say that it appeared with the birth of the Khawarij. In his book, Ali wa Banuhu, Drive, Taha Hussein writes, Shi'ism became an organized political group during the time of Imam Hassan. However, the fact is that Shi'ism came into existence simultaneously with the explicit declaration by the Prophet of the Imamate of Ali, and with the belief of some companions of the Prophet in the virtues of Imam Ali. According to the statement of Ibn Abul Hadid, Ammar ibn Yasir, Miqdad ibn Aswad, Abu Ayyub Ansari, Buraidah, Habir ibn Abdullah Ansari, Ubay ibn Ka'ab, Huzaifa ibn Yaman, Saul ibn Hunayf, Uthman ibn Hunayf, Abu al-Haytham ibn Tayhan, Abi Tufail, and all the Hashemites were Shias. Followers of Ali. Allama Sheikh Muhammad Hassan Muzaffar, in his book Tariq Shia, quotes from Muhammad Kurd Ali's Qudatush Sham, 10 that among the prominent companions of the Prophet who supported Imam Ali during the time of Prophet was Salman al-Farsi. He used to say, "We took oath of allegiance to the Prophet, who was a well-wisher of Muslims, and we were among the Shias of Ali." Abu Sa'id Khudri is reported to have said, "The Holy Prophet ordered the people 5 things. They acted on 4 and abandoned the 5th. On being inquired about the 4 things, Abu Sa'id said, they are prayers, zakat, fasting and hajj. Then he was asked, which is the 5th thing that was abandoned? He replied, Wilayat of Ali. He was asked, is the Wilayat of Ali of the same rank as the 4 obligatory acts? He replied, yes, the Wilayat of Ali is of the same rank as these 4 obligatory acts. The Shias and Abdullah bin Saba. Some people believe that the Shia faith is an innovation by Abdullah ibn Saba, 11 even though this view is absurd, and it is held on account of the lack of information about the Shia faith. It is so because those who are aware of the aversion expressed by Shias for his words and conduct, and the manner in which he has been condemned by the Shia scholars, the Shia faith cannot be attributed to Abdullah ibn Saba. Muhammad Kurd Ali is neither a Shia nor a supporter of Shias. However, he honestly mentioned the facts and has not mixed it with personal motives. All this shows that the meaning of the Shia faith is the belief in imamate of Imam Ali, as confirmed by the Holy Prophet. Hence, it is natural that the birth of the Shia faith took place when the Prophet issued a statement about the Wilayat mastership of Imam Ali. The first such statement was made by the Holy Prophet when he preached his religion for the first time. The origin of Shia faith was, therefore, concurrent with the advent of Islam and the appointment of the Prophet to prophethood. Why Imam Ali, or remained silent? It is often asked why, if Imam Ali had been nominated for the caliphate by the Holy Prophet, why did he keep quiet when Abu Bakr assumed the caliphate, and why did he not raise any objection? This question has been repeatedly asked since the time of Imam Ali to the present day, and it was put to him also. Below is a gist of Imam Ali's view in light of what we have gathered from historical accounts. 1. Lack of support. 2. To safeguard Islam. 3. He's not keen on gaining political power. 4. Existence of internal enemies. 5. Existence of envious people. Lack of support. In reply to this question, Imam Ali said, "My silence in the matter of caliphate was not because I feared death, but it was because the Holy Prophet had said to me, people will betray you and will not honor the covenant that they made to me, and your relationship to me is same as that of Harun's to Musa." Imam Ali says, "I asked the Holy Prophet, what will be my duty when the people betray me? He replied, if there is some to support you, fight the people and acquire your right. And if you have no supporter, ignore them and protect your life so that you may leave the world as a victim." Imam Ali added, "I follow the example of 7 past prophets. First, Prophet Noah, when he said to his Lord, O Lord, I am one overpowered, do thou then help me. 54:10. Second, Prophet Ibrahim, who said, and I will withdraw from you in what you call on besides Allah. 1948. Third, Prophet Lut, who said, would that I had power to suppress you or that I could betake myself to some powerful support. 1180. Fourth, Prophet Yusuf, who said, my Lord, the prison house is dearer to me than that to which they invite me. 1233. Fifth, Prophet Musa, who said, so I fled from you when I feared you. 2621. Sixth, Prophet Harun, who said, son of my mother, surely the people reckoned me weak and had well nigh slain me. 150. Seventh, Prophet Muhammad when he escaped from the polytheists and took refuge in the cave. In light of these examples, Imam Ali observed a goodly patience in the face of hardships, and after attaining caliphate, he explained his views in the Shaykh sermon in these words. 12 But I was forced to bear this usurpation and turn my face away from the calamity. I was at crossroads. There were two alternatives before me, either to fight for my rights without supporters, or patiently endure the usurpation. The endurance was going to be so sad and of such a long duration that, during this period young men would become old, the old would lose their powers and the sincere people would leave the world unsuccessfully trying to improve the situation. After thought all consideration, I arrived at the conclusion that the wisest course for me was to face the disaster with patience and courage. I, therefore, bore it all patiently. 13. Imam Ali Rida was asked, why did Imam Ali led a life of seclusion for 25 years after the Holy Prophet, but waged wars after attaining caliphate? Imam replied, in doing so, Imam Ali followed the example of the Holy Prophet who allowed respite to the polytheists of Mecca for 14 years and 7 months, 13 years in Mecca and 19 months in Medina, and did not fight them. The reason the Holy Prophet did not fight during this period was the lack of support. In the same way, Imam Ali had to face lack of supporters to fight a war. When we study the Holy Quran, we find two types of verses. The first type recommends to the Holy Prophet to remain patient in the face of inconveniences that he had to suffer at the hands of the polytheists. For example, the Holy Quran says, but if you are patient, it will certainly be best for those who are patient. 16. 126. And be patient, and your patience is not but by the assistance of Allah. 16. 127. And bear patiently what they say. 73. 10. Therefore, bear up patiently as did the apostles endowed with constancy bear up with patience. 46. 35. So, wait patiently for the judgment of your Lord. 68. 48. There are also other similar verses in which the Holy Prophet has been asked to observe patience in face of the offensive words of the polytheists. Another set of verses speaks of waging war. Fight them, Allah will punish them by your hands and bring them to disgrace and assist you against them and heal the hearts of a believing people. 9. 14. So, when you meet in battle those who disbelieve, then smite the necks until when you have overcome them, then make them prisoners. 47. 4. And be not slack so as to cry for peace, and you have the upper hand, and Allah is with you, and He will not bring your deeds to naught. 47. 35. The verses in which patience is recommended were revealed at a time when the Prophet had few supporters and did not possess any army or weapons. There is no doubt that, at such a time, he should have remained patient, because when one is weak, fighting brings about results that are the opposite of one's goal and only encourages the enemy to proceed with confrontation and bloodshed. But when the Holy Prophet has acquired an army and strength, he was ordered to destroy the polytheists and purify the earth from their impurity. A close scrutiny of the above verses shows that patience in the face of the enemy is good at times, and undesirable at another. Furthermore, the error of the famous Orientalist, Ignaz Golgier, also becomes clear. In his book Al-Aqidah wa Ash-Sharia, 14 Arabic translation 1946, he writes, when Muhammad was in Mecca, he was spending his days in helplessness and patience, but when he reached Medina, he became the head of a military state. From the time Muhammad left Mecca, the circumstances changed, and it was no longer necessary to be lenient with the polytheists. After Muhammad had been thinking of the hereafter, he suddenly became inclined to worldly desires. This historical policy of Islam shows that Islam is a warlike religion which does not conform to its early stages. This analysis of Golgier is erroneous. The prophethood of His Eminence, Muhammad acquired perfection at all stages without any contradiction, because when he was ordered to observe patience, it was because he did not possess strength and support and could not fight against the oppressors. But, when he gained strength, he waged an all-out war on them. This is neither surprising nor illogical, because if a person is in need of something and does not possess enough money to purchase it, he will wait till he saves the required amount. But, if even after accumulating that amount, he still does not purchase that item, it shows that he is miserly and prefers to keep himself in discomfort. The same is the case with the conduct of the Holy Prophet. When he was in Mecca, he did not fight against the polytheists because he did not have adequate army and arms. But when he gained power in Medina, he decided to face the polytheists and put a stop to their oppressions. 15. Safeguarding Islam. The new converts to Islam, in the beginning, were still shaky in their faith. And from the aspect of organization, they did not possess enough strength to face external attacks, especially when apostates 16 had revolted in different parts of Arabia. On one side, the Prophet organized an army under Usama ibn Zayd to fight the Romans before he breathed his last. On the other side, the Romans and Persians were waiting for an opportunity to attack the new Islamic State and destroy Islam. In such a delicate situation, if Imam Ali had fought against Abu Bakr to acquire the caliphate, the newly constructed edifice of Islam would have crumbled. In that event, the greatness of Islam would have vanished, and the standard of Islam would have fallen. Is it possible that a person who had fought for advancement of the religion of Allah and who secured dignity for Islam should himself take such steps by which the foundation of Islam is wrecked? Indeed, Imam Ali remained quiet to safeguard Islam and did not bring about a civil war. Such conduct was quite reasonable. Supposing someone owes you money but refuses to repay, and you know that if you force him for payment bloodshed would ensue, so you refrain from raising a dispute for the sake of peace. Imam Ali was not keen on acquiring political power. The Egyptian author, Professor Mahmoud Abbas Akkad, in his book, Fatimatus Zahra 17 writes, Ali was sure that he was entitled to caliphate, but he could not have revolted against the regime. It was for the society to rise up and demand for his right. This view of Akkad is consistent with the pious conduct of Imam Ali. Ali has himself said, "In my view, the value of your world is not more than the sneezing of a goat." A Gnostic has praised Imam Ali's piety in these words. In his view, the world was inferior to ashes placed before a gust of wind, and death was more welcome to him than drinking water at the time of intense thirst. When the value of the world before Imam Ali was such, the nature of his government becomes evident. Internal enemies. Imam Ali had many enemies amongst the Muslims whose fathers, brothers and relatives had been killed by his sword in various battles. If he had risen to recover his rights, they would have falsely accused him of creating disunity among Muslims and would have fought against him under the pretext of religion. So, he did not want to provide an opportunity to the internal enemies. Imam Ali says, "One who provides an excuse to his enemy to destroy his flesh, skin, bones and blood, commits a major sin and is an incapable person." Envious people. Among the enemies of Imam Ali, there were many who were envious of him. Khalil ibn Ahmad was asked, when the companions of the Holy Prophet were like brothers of one another, why was Ali like one who had no brother? Khalil replied, as Imam Ali had embraced Islam earlier than all others and was superior to them in nobility, wisdom, knowledge, forbearance and righteousness, they were envious of him, because people are inclined to those who are of the same kind as they are. When Musaylama ibn Numail was asked as to why they forsook Imam Ali although he was the best of them, he replied, because their eyes were not strong enough to see the brilliance of the son of Imamate. Abu al-Haytham ibn Tayhan, a prominent companion, said to Imam Ali, The Quraysh envy you for two reasons. Those who are good among them aspire to become your equals in the matter of honor and excellence. And those who are evil, their jealousy is because of their hard-heartedness and bad deeds. They observe that they are deprived of the greatness that is bestowed on you, so they are not prepared to support you. They wish to excel over you. I swear by Allah, their aim is a long one. When they were unable to compete with you, they did with you what you have seen. By Allah, you are most deserving to be thanked by Quraysh, because it was you that supported the Holy Prophet during his lifetime, and when he breathed his last you executed his will and repaid his debts. 1. Swear by Allah that the Quraysh have been unjust to Allah and have broken their covenant with him. Allah will take revenge on them. We, Ansar, support you with our hands and tongues. We will fight with our hands those enemies of yours who are present, and with our tongues those who are absent. When Muslims harbored enmity towards Imam Ali, with whose support could he fight and upon whom could he depend? On the contrary, the supporters of Abu Bakr displayed their strength to obtain oath of allegiance for him. Ibn Abul Hadid writes in his Shar Naj al-Balagha, the group of Abu Bakr, Umar, Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah and other companions approached every person, and without caring whether he was inclined to do allegiance to Abu Bakr or not, they grabbed his hand and put it on the hand of Abu Bakr. Ali Abdur Razak writes in Al-Islam wa al-Usul al-Hukam, allegiance to Abu Bakr was obtained by force like modern governments obtain power by coercion. Since the government of Abu Bakr, like all governments of the world, depended on force and they were sure that Imam Ali would not fight against them, they compelled him to accept either of the two extremes. Fight or take the oath of allegiance. As Islam was likely to suffer less by his taking oath of allegiance, he gave allegiance to Abu Bakr. Development of the Shia faith. As we said before, the Shia faith came into existence at the time of the Holy Prophet, and some of the companions believed that Imam Ali was more deserving of caliphate than others. Therefore, Ali and his associates didn't give allegiance to Abu Bakr in the early stage. What mattered most to Imam Ali, was the safety of Islam and the well-being of the people. That is why he behaved with his opponents in a tolerant manner. Without any doubt, public finance was administered in a transparent manner during the reigns of Abu Bakr and Umar, and they did not accord preference to any relative of theirs in government affairs. There was thus no occasion for engineering a revolution. However, when Uthman, Bani Umayyah and Bani Abbas rulers deviated from the right path, and caliphate became rulership, it became necessary for Shias to fight and protest against the respective rulers and to confront them. Those who revolt against governments to gain political control do not say that they are fighting for the throne. They only claim that their struggle is for the reformation of society and protection of rights that these tyrant rulers have violated. From this aspect, during the rule of Abu Bakr and Umar, evils had not appeared so prominently, and rights had not been violated such that fighting might have become necessary. Hence during their time, campaign and criticism of Shias had no visible effect. But the evils of Uthman's rule finally led to his assassination. Laying short, the more the regimes of Bani Umayyah, Bani Abbas and others oppressed the people and encroached upon their rights, the louder was the voice of Shia protest. And they clamored more for justice and for the transfer of the political power to the family of Ali. Who can lead the Muslims? Shias believe that Imam Ali was specified by the Holy Prophet to be chosen for imamate. Therefore, his special qualities became the standard for Muslim rulers. All his life, Imam Ali never prostrated before idols and never associated anyone with Allah. During his entire life, he did not do anything wrong intentionally or otherwise. Hence, it is necessary that a leader of Muslims and a successor of the Prophet should be infallible like the Prophets. Regarding the necessity of infallibility for a leader of Muslims, Shias say, like the Prophets, the leaders of Muslims are defenders of Islam and enforcers of its laws. If it be permissible for them to oppose the laws of Islam, they can neither defend Islam nor promote the laws which they themselves violate. To prove this point, Shias quote the verse, "And when his Lord tried Ibrahim with certain words, he fulfilled them. He said, surely, I will make you an imam of men." Ibrahim said, "And of my offspring. My covenant does not include the unjust," said he too. 124. According to this verse, oppressors and sinners who have disobeyed Allah even once in their lifetime are not eligible for the imamate and leadership of Muslims. Just as Imam Ali was superior to all other companions of the Prophet, it is necessary that a leader of the Muslims should be superior to all people of his time in respect of all good qualities, because, according to the dictates of reason and religion, a person who is superior from the point of view of wisdom and piety cannot obey those who are inferior to him in this regard. Allah says in the Quran, "Say, is there any of your associates who guides to the truth? Say, Allah guides to the truth. Is he then who guides to the truth more worthy to be followed, or he who himself does not go aright unless he is guided? What then is the matter with you? How do you judge?" 10:35. These qualities, which the Shia consider necessary for a leader of Muslims and for their Imam, were not seen in any of the rulers and are peculiar only to Imam Ali, and his purified descendants Imams. The first among them was appointed by the Holy Prophet, and each subsequent Imam was nominated by his predecessor. In light of this, Shias do not formally recognize rulers who are not descendants of Imam Ali, and consider them usurpers of the rights of all al-Bayt, because this position had been specifically granted by the Almighty to the pure descendants of Imam Ali. Shias have always opposed such usurping rulers and have campaigned against them. If the Shias have been silent at some times, it does not mean that they acknowledge those rulers as legitimate. They have always maintained that usurpers have no right to rule. They have also always campaigned against rulers who did not fulfill the conditions of rulership, viz., specific nomination for rulership, infallibility and superiority. This clearly shows for what crime the Shias were killed, deprived and persecuted in every period of history. It also shows that the Shia campaign against the rulers was based on nothing but religion and faith. 1. The reasoning process in deriving Islamic laws. 2. Contemporary intellectuals who have accepted the Shia faith, like the author of Tajali, the respected Muhammad Tajani Samawi Tunisi, the author of Fareh, Salah al-Wardani Misri, and the author of Hakikat Gumshuda, Sheikh Motasim Saeed Ahmad Sadani have presented detailed discussions of this matter. Urdu translations of all these books were published by Majma Ilmi Islami. 3. D. 875 AH. 4. This clarification is present in the books of all al-Sunnah. Comprehensive discussions of this matter can be found in these books: Shafi'i by Alam al-Huda Saeed Murtaza, Dalail as-Sid Q by Sayyid Muhammad Hassan Muzaffar, al-Murajat by Saeed Sharifuddin Musawi, Al-Ghadir by Allama Abu al-Husayn Amani, and Ayan ash-Shia by Saeed Mohsen Amin. 5. There were some scholars among Muslims who denied the principle of divine justice. According to them, the Almighty Allah is higher than these principles in his natural and legislative system. His acts and laws can never be restricted by any rule, and no law is fixed for them. Whatever Allah does is right and just, and not that he does only that which is rightful and just. In the same way, his laws are themselves justice, and not that his laws are made to follow justice. From this theory, those scholars concluded that there is nothing in the system that can prevent a righteous and good person from being punished in the hereafter, or prevent a terrible sinner, despite his mortal sins, from being rewarded with paradise. In the same way, there is nothing that prevents some people from being bestowed with all the bounties in this world while some others remain deprived, because justice and injustice are not real and rational concepts. They are only dependent on the Sharia. Whatever the Sharia commands is itself justice. Since the apparent aspect of this mode of thinking is that Sharia is not under the dictates of reason and law, people considered it to be an acknowledgement of the greatness and importance of Sharia, and since this way of thinking was favored by the people, very soon it gained acceptance and created a great wave in the Islamic world. Ostad Martyr Murtaza Mutahari, Sayings, pg. 382. 6. There is a very old saying: divine justice and unity of Godhead are principles of the Alawites, and fixed destiny and making comparison Qiyas are principles of the Umayyads. 7. Tabari in his Tafsir and Ibn Kathir in al-Bidayah wa Nihaya have replaced the word brother, successor and caliph by so and so. Ibn Hisham also has written in his preface to his Surah, I have omitted in this book of mine sentences of Surah Ibn Ishaq that people do not like. In the same way, the Egyptian scholar Muhammad Hussein Haykal had quoted this tradition in full in the first edition of his book Hayat Muhammad on page 104, but in the second edition in 1325 AH this quotation was Deleted. 8. Sahih Bukhari, Volume 6, pg. 408. 9. Some Orientalists and Western writers are of the opinion that Shi'ism came into being after the martyrdom of Imam Hussein, a. According to them, the martyrdom of Imam Hussein created a revolution in the thinking and views of the Shias, as a result of which they organized themselves, and Shi'ism appeared as a systematic faith. Prior to this, there was no organization among the Shias. Before the great martyrdom of Imam Hussein, the position of Shi'ism was of a political group, and the particular views of Shi'ism were not entrenched in the minds of the people and mixed in their blood. When Imam Hussein was martyred, Shi'ism began to run in the veins of the people and appeared as a straightforward faith, as the American scholar of Iranian descent, Rida Aslan, writes in his book No God But God, published by Random House Paperbacks, New York, on page 178. Put simply, the memory of Karbala was slowly transforming the Shi'ism of Ali from a political faction with the aim of restoring the leadership of the community to the family of the Prophet, into an utterly distinct religious sect in Islam. Shi'ism, a religion founded on the ideal of the righteous believer who, following in the footsteps of the martyrs at Karbala, willingly sacrifices himself in the struggle for justice against oppression. The author of Lawrence of Arabia and Arab scholar, Anthony Nulling, in his book, The Arabs, published by Mentor Books, New York, 1964, under the heading of Shia Revolt and Abbasid Decline, on page 155, writes, the Shia movement had begun in Arabia at the time of the Prophet's death as a political party dedicated to placing Ali on the caliphate throne. From then until the death of Ali's son, Hussein, it was purely an Arab movement. But as the Umayyads' rigid class structure embittered the Mawali converts to Islam in the Persian East, the Shia saw their opportunity to broaden the base of their movement and to expand their numbers. Thus, the original partisans of Ali grew into an international movement, bent not only on restoring the Alids to the caliphate but also on staging a social revolution on behalf of the oppressed classes everywhere within the empire. 10. Volume 5, pg. 251. 11. The gist of the fiction of Saif ibn Umar is that Abdullah ibn Saba was about a Yemenite Jew who made a show of converting to Islam during the period of Uthman, while in fact he continued to conspire against Islam secretly. He roamed through Islamic centers like Syria, Kufa, Basra and Egypt and spread the propaganda that, like Prophet Jesus, Prophet Muhammad would also return. He also used to claim that every prophet had a successor, and the successor of Muhammad was Ali, and just as Prophet Muhammad was the seal of the prophets, Ali, is the seal of the successors. Also, that as Uthman had oppressed Ali and usurped his right, the people should rise and restore the rights to its owner. Under the influence of this propaganda, some Muslims rebelled and reached Medina, laid siege to Uthman's palace, and finally assassinated him. All this took place under the supervision of Sabanes. And also, that leaders of the two parties in Battle of Camel didn't want hostilities to take place, but the Sabanes concocted such a plot during the night that battle ensued, and it never became clear who had started the battle. Dr. Taha Hussein has denied the existence of Abdullah ibn Saba in his book, Al-Fitnat al-Kubra. The contemporary research scholar, Allama Saeed Murtaza Askari, in his book, Abdullah ibn Saba, has investigated and evaluated the subject thoroughly, but it is a matter of regret that the agents of imperialism and proponents of the restoration of caliphate continue to repeat the same old story of Abdullah ibn Saba. Dr. Israr Ahmad, in his column in the Jang Daily of Karachi dated 12 Rabiul Awwal 1429 writes under the heading Azmat-e Musrafa, Maghrib ka Gusrakana Rawaiya. In this conspiracy, the Jews had the list, and their enmity was because the Holy Prophet was not from Bani Israel, while the Jews believed that prophethood was restricted to Bani Israel. After migration to Medina, the people of Medina removed Abdullah ibn Ubay, who had the support of the Jews, and made the Holy Prophet their leader. This struck like a bolt of lightning on the Jews. From that day, they made the personality of the Holy Prophet as the target of their conspiracies. After his departure, another Jew in the garb of Islam played a very important role in dividing the Islamic community. For the kind information of Dr. Israr Ahmad, it was not the fictional Abdullah ibn Saba who caused harm to Islam, it was the so-called scholars who connived with imperialism to deliver an effective strike on Islam. It is a saying of the Holy Prophet that three types of people are disasters for religion: a sinful scholar, an ignorant and foolish worshipper, and an oppressive ruler. The historical fact is that Sayf ibn Umar fabricated the fictional figure of Abdullah ibn Saba in the second half of the 2nd century of Hijrah, and exactly 120 years after that, it began to be propagated that Abdullah ibn Saba was the founder of Shi'ism. Apart from Sayf ibn Umar, no one else has mentioned this baseless story, and in every age, the existence of Abdullah ibn Saba has remained a question mark. May Drive. Israr Ahmad, please explain to us why such an influential character of Abdullah ibn Saba, who effectively divided the Ummah and caused chaos and destruction, was not mentioned by any of the earliest historians of Islam. Why have scholars like Ibn Shihab Zuhri, Urwa ibn Zubair, Aban ibn Uthman, Abu Bakr ibn Hazm, Musa ibn Uqba and Waqidi not said anything about such an important figure? These were the same people who compiled history and traditions in the final period of Umayyads. If Abdullah ibn Saba had really existed, the greatest enemy of Imam Ali, Muawiyah and his party men, would have definitely mentioned it, because Muawiyah never missed any opportunity to defame Ali, and his supporters. How did this figure remain concealed from the people till the last period of the 2nd century? Sayf ibn Umar was the first writer to present this fictional figure along with his exploits in the second half of the 2nd century. Regarding Sayf ibn Umar, all scholars agree that he was a blatant liar, and in order to flatter the Abbasids he concocted many fictional stories. Thus, when he saw that the Alawites were becoming a challenge for Bani Abbas, he devised the imaginary tale of Abdullah ibn Saba, to discredit the former. 12. Naj al-Balagha, Sermon No. 7. 13. Fulfilling the bequest of the Messenger of Allah's Imam Ali, observed patience in every oppression, even when the agents of the regime dragged him forcefully from his house and took him to the mosque. Although the Imam was enraged, he remained faithful to the advice of his mentor and didn't pull out the sword, because he was neither weak nor cowardly. Just as the world once more witnessed the exploits of the Dufakar his sword 25 years later in the battles of Jamal, Siffin, and Nahrawan. At that time controlling his anger and sentiments was more difficult than facing Amr ibn Flatwad. Allama Saeed Murtaza Askari, Role of Imams in the Revival of Re-1 Volume 2. 14. Most probably the author was referring to Golzier's book Vorlesungen über den Islam. Its English translation, Introduction to Islamic Theology and Law, by Andras and Ruth Hamori, was published by Princeton University Press, 1981. Note of al-islam.org. 15. Greet Wilders of Holland also, like Golgier, considers Islam to be a warring faith. The Dutch legislator, who cannot differentiate between the general and conditional commands of the Quran, has equated the Quran with Mein Kampf by Hitler. He has also demanded a ban on its publication. He has also produced a film, Fitna, on this subject, in which he wants to portray Islam as a religion that incites violence and undemocratic behavior. This is absolutely false, as it is based on erroneous understanding of Quran. The Holy Quran itself says that it is cure and mercy for human beings. 16. Imam Ali was compelled to pay allegiance to Abu Bakr to remove the evil, because at this time some individuals outside Medina had made false claims to prophethood. For example, Musaylama al-Kazzab, during the last days of the Holy Prophet had claimed prophethood. After the passing away of the Prophet, there had been considerable increase in his notoriety. Ridiculing the Holy Quran, he had also composed some Arabic couplets and declared that there would be a prophet from his tribe and another from the Quraysh. That is why his community and tribe had accepted him as a prophet. Gradually he gained such influence that an army consisting of 40,000 mercenaries gathered around him. They could have launched an attack on Medina any time and destroyed the whole city. If, God forbid, they had succeeded in their dirty plan, they would have first of all martyred Imam Ali, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, and erased even the signs of the blessed grave of the Holy Prophet. At that time not men made false claims of prophethood. Even a woman of Bani Tamim tribe, named Sajah, also claimed that she was a prophet. She had also gathered people around her by taking allegiance from them. In addition to these claimants to